Associate Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Karnataka State Women University, Vijaypur. Sir has done his PhD in the Department of Library and Information Science from Gulbarga University in the year 2004. He has got vast experience in the field of teaching as well as research. He is also into research extensively and is guiding 5 research candidates for doctoral degree. He is also a member of various professional associations like Indian Association of Teachers of Library and Information Science, Indian Library Association, Karnataka Library Associations, and others. He is also having some other administrative works at the University of Karnataka State Women's University, like Academic Council member, Chairman of BOE, member of BIS, and others. He has been invited to deliver his technical talk in various conferences and workshops and seminars also. Presently, he is an associate professor at Vijaypur University. With this brief introduction of him, I request him to take over the session. Sir, over to you.
Okay,
Sir.
Okay, 1 second, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. So PPT sharing ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್?
ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
Hello.
ಶೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್. ಶೇರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್.
ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್ ಅದು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. Sir, shall I start now?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. So, ready. Good morning to all. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the Library and Information Center of PES College, Engineering College, Monday, for conducting this 5 days Atal Faculty Development Program on the topic of developing effective research skills from the 9th to 13th August 2021. In this regard, I express my sincere thanks to the management of PES Engineering College, Monday, and also I heartfelt thanks to the principal of this college, Professor Malinga Gaud sir, and also I express my sincere thanks to the coordinator of this faculty development program, Kodamdarama, and also I express my sincere thanks to all the participant delegates, resource person. For me, they have assigned the topic on data analysis using SPSS. As we know that today this topic is very well versed. There is a lot of scope and demand for this SPSS to handling the very huge amount of data. So we have to use the softwares like SPSS or Excel or SAS. So let us go for how you are going to use this software, what extent we are going to use this software. In this SPSS, by using this SPSS software, how we are going to analyze the research data, what are the conditions we supposed to be taken into account while applying various statistical tools, because SPSS earlier it was meant for the social science.
Hello. Sorry, it's not audible, sir. Yes, it's coming, sir.
Okay, sir. Sorry for disturbance.
That's okay, sir.
Okay. So the outline of the today presentation is let us will go about the SPSS introduction, and we will also trace the history. What are the important features of SPSS, and what are the types of variables we are going to use for analyzing various statistical tests? What are the conditions we should fulfill while applying the various statistical tools like a parametric test or non-parametric test? And also we should have a knowledge about the measurement scale, because it is very, very important. Every variable should have to measure under different measurement scale. And later we will going to talk about the how we are going to create the frequency table, how we are going to create and run the descriptive statistics, and how you can apply the various other statistical tools for the various research data. So before going to start about the SPSS, earlier it was known as a statistical package for social science. Basically, it was used for the social science only, as its application and tendency and scope and importance, as it is increases, it has been used heavily in the remaining field. It is used in engineering field, it is used in medical field, it is used in business research, it is used in marketing research, it is used everywhere whenever you want to apply and analyze the very big data. So this is the only solution to find out. Today we have so many packages are there, softwares are there, but SPS is ultimate one. It is a most user-friendly software. Now it is also known as a statistical product and service solution. And now in present day, it has been again renamed as a predictive analytical software. So because its scope is extended beyond the social science, it has been renamed. If you go back to trace the history of the and development of the SPSS, almost it has very long heritage. It is introduced in the year 1968. Initially, it was developed to facilitate only for the social science research data. Later, it has applied to the various other domains. Earlier, this SPSS is designed only to run on mainframe computers. Today, we can use in all and variety of computers. And on July 2009, 28, the IBM, the multinational company, has taken over this SPSS at the cost of $1.2 billion. Later, it is called as IBM SPSS. It is a very, they have designed and also introduced the very advanced features in the SPSS packages. As we know that SPSS is a leading worldwide statistical software package, heavily used across the world. And it is also called as a provider of the predictive analytics software and solution. It has its headquarters is situated at Chicago, USA. And this company has started in the year 1968. It has been designed and developed by two of the statistical based software engineer, Norman Nee and Del Bent, in the year 1968. Today, SPSS has almost more than 2.5 crores customers are using this software all over the world, and more than 1,200 technical courses has supporting this design and development of this SPSS software, and it is used almost more than 100 countries across the world. We start with the introduction to SPSS. As I told, SPSS is basically, it is a statistical package for social science, provide a powerful statistical analysis and also data management system. When you want to analyze the data manually, whenever you want to go and handle with the large amount of data, very voluminous of data, it is very difficult to handle manually, because we have a tendency to make some error in the system of calculation, and this will lead into the maybe wrong interpretation of the results. Maybe we are going to expected the null hypothesis. Because of the error in the calculation, we may reject it, or it may be vice versa. So this may lead into the so many complications while you are dealing with a large amount of data. The most of the task can be accomplished in simply by pointing and clicking on the mouse. SPSS, as I told, it is a very user friendly, and you can point and click icons, you will get the result. Most of the cases, if you take any advanced statistical test, just 4 to 5 steps, you can complete the entire process within 1 second. So this way it is so much simplified, and it is so useful for anyone who are going to handle with a large amount of data. It is most user friendly, as I told, and simply you can click. Even a layman can able to, with a little bit of computer knowledge, you can able to handle with the SPSS, provided while handling the SPSS, you should have a knowledge of statistics. Basic statistics knowledge should be very compulsory. At least you should know what are the particular test, for what purpose it is used, what are the conditions to apply that particular t-test or f-test or ANOVA test, any test, or parametric test or non-parametric test. You should have a knowledge of statistics, and you should also knowledge about the research methodology while you are dealing with the variables and other concept while using in the research. So here almost all, I think in the statistics, we have more than 500 statistical tests are there. They all cannot be used for any kind of data. It has its own conditions. It has to fulfill. If you have a background knowledge of that statistics, you can able to apply that particular test in the SPSS. But almost all the statistical tests can be used by using this SPSS software package. And some of the important features of this SPSS is, as I told, basically it is similar to that of the MS Excel package. So as we are totally familiar with the Excel software, Excel package, and this is just consisting of rows and columns. You can do any kind of arithmetic operations in the Excel. Similarly, this also consisting of rows and columns. So it has a set of variables, set of cases, records. By using it, almost similar to that of MS Excel package. And in the MS Excel, we have a limitation about to do the calculation. We cannot go beyond the advanced. If you want to do the multiple regression analysis, or if you want to do any factor analysis or quotient analysis, that cannot be done in the Excel. But you can apply all the advanced statistics in case of SPSS software. So you can import the data from the many different sources, such as Microsoft Excel or SIS. So either while you are dealing or handling with the SPSS, directly you can enter the data into the SPSS software. As I told, it is a rows and columns. You have to define the variable. You have to enter the data, or numerical data, or it may be alphabetical data. Or you can first enter into the Excel sheet, later you can import to the SPSS. That also can be done. And another important feature is it provides the analytical tool to generate the reports. So by using this SPSS, we can generate many number of reports as we required. We can generate the frequency table of the each variable, and also you can create the chart. Also you can create the plots, and also you can create the descriptive statistics. You can calculate the mean, mode, median, standard deviation, etc. by using this analytical tool. And also we can run the very advanced statistical analysis in this SPSS software. In addition to user interface, we can also run through the syntax, command syntax. By using MS-DOS also, we can also run this SPSS to avoid the repetitive task in the SPSS. So while you are handling this SPSS software, we come across two important operations, two important view we come across. As I told, SPSS window consisting of two views. Number one is variable view. So what this variable, later I will show in the SPSS only, how we can create a variable view, how you can create and design the variable, what are the conditions while designing the variable. So that I will show you. So while you are dealing with the variable view, so this is the place to create and define the variable. So it is just like rows and columns are there. On the column side, it consisting of the variable, and you can create your own variable, whatever it is defined in your questionnaire. So that variable can be created and defined in the variable view, and define all the characteristics of the variable. Variable may be, you have to define the nature of the variable, what is the type of the variable, what is the width of the variable. And there are, so while you are dealing with the variable, some variable are dependent variable or numerical in nature, some of them are categorical one. If it is a decimal points, it will ask you. If it is a numeric, means you can create the decimal points. If it is alphabetical variable, categorical variable, means just give the whole number, that's all. And you can also create the label. The label means this is the title of the table. So for example, you have created the variable called gender. So you are going to create the frequency table of the gender. What should be the title of that table? It should be a gender-wise distribution of table. Okay, gender-wise distribution of the respondent. So label you have to create also by using this missing number alignment measure. Measure is most important. Depending upon the nature of the variable, you can set the measure, whether it is a nominal data, whether that particular variable is deals with nominal data, or the whether that particular variable is a ordinal, or whether it is a ratio or interval. Depending upon the nature of the variable, here you can set the measure scale in the variable definition. And also you can list out all the variables. What are the, suppose in your research work, you may consisting of 50 variable, means you can define all the 50 variables in the variable view and properly define all its characteristics. Later you can go for entering the data related to that variable. Define the characteristics of all the variable in the variable view. So in the next, as I told, the window is consisting of two views. One is variable view. It is the place for creation of variable that is going to be run in future. So next important view is that is data view. In the data view, it is the place to enter the data related to your variable. So data view, you can add and delete the data related to that variable. And this particular data view is consisting of columns and rows. Column is representing the particular variable in your data file. So every column has its own variable. Variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to define that variable. Suppose the variable is deals with gender, gender you have to define as a variable. If it is a age, means age is a one variable. If it is a occupation, means occupation is one of the variable. If it is a income, means income is a one variable. If it is a place, means place is a one variable. If it is any other job satisfaction, means we can also define the job satisfaction score in that particular variable. In case of rows, rows represents the individual cases or records or of the respondent. So suppose your research size of the sample of your research, total number of individual consider for your research work is the size of the sample. That may be a 200, 300, 500. So all that 500 cases should be entered in the row that represent the case wise or the record wise, we call it as. So this data, you basically, it is consisting of rows and columns. Columns represent the variable, row represent the cases or records. And in this, you can also import the data from Excel. Most of the cases, we can do some simplification in the data. Sometimes that cannot be done. It will take some long procedure in the SPSS. That can be done very simple way in the Excel. So you can enter the data first in the Excel, later directly with your 2 or 3 steps, you can import the data into SPSS. That is also one way. Or directly you can enter the data into the SPSS editor only. That also you can done it. For some cases, it is required first you have to enter in the Excel, you simplify the data. Sometimes we require a total. That total can be done very easily in the Excel. That can be later export to the SPSS. After that, we can do the verification of data entered into the SPSS editor, because you have entered the data sometimes it may be missing, sometimes we may enter the wrong data. There are some errors in the data that can be verified in the verification cases. In the SPSS, you can go for to run the summary cases. In the summary cases, you will get the report. In the report, you can trace the missing value or wrong values. Based on that, you can edit your data, and finally you can make the correction of your data. That can be done in the SPSS. And also you can do sorting of the data. So sorting, sometimes you can arrange the variable according to alphabetical wise. You can also arrange according to the case wise. According to your convenience, you can done in the SPSS. Sometimes you can also transformation of data can be done in the SPSS. For example, in the given research, we have asked about the height and weight of the respondent. Later, for some other purpose, for the analysis purpose, I required one more variable, that is the body mass index. That is not we have asked in the questionnaire. That can be calculated by using the weight divided by height square. So that can be done by using the transform cases in the SPSS. Before going to deal with the SPSS, first and foremost, we should understand what is variable. The knowledge of the variable is very, very mandatory, and it is very much required also while dealing with the SPSS, because basically we have to deal with the variable. There are so many various types of variables are there. What is the nature of that variable? What are the types of that variable? We should see it. We should know the concept that variable. Variable in the statistics, we have dealing with the variables and constant. Variable is a one which value varies from case to case. This value is varies from case to case. That is so variable is nothing but it is a concept, or it is a characteristics of the respondent, and it take a different quantitative value for the different elements. For example, age is a one variable, and for the age of the first respondent, it will take 23 years. The age of the second respondent, it will take 29. The age of the third respondent, it will take 50. For the each cases, it take a different value. So that we call it as a variable. Its value varies. That's what it is called as variable. For example, if you take a demographic variable, gender is a one variable, place is a variable, age is a variable, income is a variable, occupation and qualification, all they are variable. They are called as a demographic variable. The nature of the variable may be differs. For example, gender is a categorical variable. The gender is a variable. It again consisting of two subgroups, that is male and female. And place is another variable. Again, it consisting of two subgroups, maybe three subgroups, rural and urban. It can be further divided. Is either two things. Either it is a categorical variable or it is a numerical variable. How it is a numerical variable? If you ask the age as it is, whole age of the respondent, 23.6 age, or 28.2, or 30.4. So you can directly take it as a numerical variable. You can treat it. If you suppose asked the age under the categorical mode, for example, if you given ABCD multiple choice, so first A is less than 20 years, B is 20 to 30 years, and C is 30 to 40 years. Like this, if you categorize the given data, then it will become a categorical variable. So this way, the variable play a very important role. Knowledge would be very much essential while dealing with the research as well as testing of hypothesis, and also with the SPSS and statistical concept. In the variable, we have various types are there. We come across the dichotomous variable. So that dichotomous variable is having only two states. Either it is yes or it is no. Either it is a male or it is a female. Either it is a rural or it is a urban. Only two status that we call it as, if the nature of the variable deals with only two categories, then we call it as a dichotomous variable. So next we come across the continuous variable. So what this, so later I will discuss that continuous variable. So we will go to the different type of variables. So what this different type of variable we supposed to deal in our research work, because many of us, we are dealing with the research work. So in our questionnaire, we are consisting of both. Either it is an independent variable as well as dependent variable. It is a categorical variable, qualitative variable, quantitative variable, different nature of variable it consisting of. These variable can take any value within the given range of some cases infinite. As I told, continuous data. Continuous variable is a one which takes any value within the data range. For example, I have fixed the range from 0 to 100, means your age variable can take any value from the 0 to 100. That nature of the variable is called as continuous variable. We also come across the other different type of variable, that is independent variables. Independent variable play a very important role in the research. So while testing of hypothesis or formulating any kind of objectives, and entire your research will be targeted towards the independent variable. You can also find the relation among the different independent variables or within the independent variables also. Independent variables are those variables, they are going to influence on the dependent variable. They are going to influence on the dependent variable. They are not going to be changed. It is remains. By you can manipulate this independent variable, its effect can be observed in the dependent variable. For example, just I will give you some very simple example with respect to independent variable. The academic performance of the boys, academic performance of the girl. For example, if I calculate in a given school, I want to see what is the academic percentage of the school of the boys. It is 60%. What is the percentage of the girls? Only the girls in a given class, it is 70%. If I combine together, the percentage may be a 65. But so this can be manipulated. This independent variable can be manipulated. You can see the effect on the dependent variable. It may be changes because if you take individually, the percent may be varies. If you combine, the percentage may be different. Independent variable is a variable in which it is going to influence its effect on the dependent variable. So you can manipulate this independent variable. That effect can be observed in the dependent variable. This we call it as a independent variable. So what about the dependent variable? The dependent variable, the name itself is explanatory. It depends upon some other variable. Okay, so it depends upon mostly on the independent variable. Dependent variable is a one which its value depends on some other variable. Maybe independent variable, it may be dependent on the moderate variable, it may be depend on the extraneous variables. So dependent variable is a variable which depends on some other variable. It is undergo for the experimentation by the manipulation of independent variable. Whereas the moderate variable is a one in which its effect, it is not directly associated with the dependent variable or independent variable, but indirectly it will going to influence us. So this is the moderate variable which will going to help us to try to establish the relationship between the dependent variable and independent variable. This is moderate, means it will go act as a catalyst to establish the relationship between the dependent variable and independent variable. If we come to the extraneous variable, The extraneous variable is a variable. That variable is kept out of the scope of the study. That will not going to take into account. For example, suppose if you want to measure the effectiveness of the teaching of the teachers, how the teacher is going to deliver his task in the classroom, how his teaching is going to impact on the students. If I want to measure his teaching effectiveness on the students, so here one of the extraneous variable is the student IQ level. Some of the students, they have very high IQ level. It is not going to depend upon the teacher performance. By birth, they are also intelligent. So simply by their self-study, they will going to perform the examination very well. And on that cases, effectively, we cannot measure the effect of the teacher performance. So in this case, the IQ level of the students who are extraordinary, it is impacting on the measuring the performance of the teacher. That affects a lot. So in that case, we cannot exactly measure the performance, but in that case, this has to be kept out of the scope of the study. Those who have extraordinary students in the class, they have to be separate and keep the sample size only the average students in the class. Then you have to measure it. You will get the exact performance of the teacher. This way, this extraneous variable is a variable. It is indirectly affecting on the dependent variable. This way, we should have a knowledge about this different type of variables which are heavily used in the statistics while you are dealing with the regression analysis or the multiple regression analysis or any ANOVA. This kind of moderate variable, extraneous variable, dependent variable, independent variables, we are using it. Another very important concept you should be very much aware and you should know it is a measurement scale. This measurement scale, this is the nature of the data. While you are dealing and assigning the characteristics of the variable, its knowledge is very much essential. So we have various types of measurement scales are there for the given data variable. We have a nominal scale, we have a ordinal scale, we have a ratio scale, we have a interval scale. Each have a different characteristics and concept. So let us we start with nominal scale. The measurement scale, under this we have a 4 types. What are those 4 types? Number 1 is nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, ratio scale. What about nominal scale? While you are dealing with the gender, what should be the measurement value of the gender? So if you have the knowledge of this measurement scale, you can define in the SPSS. Nominal scale is a 1. In that we are using some numeric values. The number given for identifying and classifying the object. For example, for gender, it consisting of 2 subgroups. What are those subgroups? One is male, other one is female. For male, I have given 1 for coding purpose. For the female, I have given 2 for the female for coding purpose only. What about 1 and 2? Does it have any significance of value? 1 and 2 doesn't have any significance of value. 1 only, it is representation, that's all. 1 for male, 2 for female. Vice versa also you given. So 1 for female and 2 for male you can give it. There is no even interchange can be done in the numbers in the nominal data. So that number cannot perform any arithmetic operations at all. For example, in the football player, we have given the number. That means number, chest number we have given. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 16, 17 or 20. What that number indicates is a number 1 player, number 2, 3, 4, 5. Just for the sake of identification, that number is given. If I given number 1 means he is superior, is not a superior. If I given last number 1, he is not a inferior. It is not like that. It is only for the representation of the object. The number is given. That is called as nominal data. That value doesn't have any significance, only for the purpose of representation. That's all. While the ordinal scale is a 1, in which also we have given the numbers. Number is assigned to the each subgroups in the ordinal scale, but the number here has a relative position of the object, but we cannot measure the magnitude of the difference exist between the object. That is the difference between the nominal scale and ordinal scale. So here, for if I given first rank, second rank, third rank of the student in the class, leave out the percentage and his marks. If you look at only first, second, third, it's has a relevancy. First has a relevancy, second has a relevancy, third has a relevancy. Anyway, if he is a first means he is superior. When you want to compare between the first and second, we cannot measure the magnitude of the difference between this. For example, low level income, middle level income, high level income. I have given 3 this. Low level income I have given 1. For middle level, I have given 2 numbers. For the higher level, I have given 3. So that has a relative position, 1, 2, 3 or relative position. You cannot interchange that numbers. 3 in place of 1, 1 in place of 3. You cannot interchange it because it has its position value in the ordinal scale. For example, if you want to measure strongly agree, somewhat, not at all, it is in the 5-point scale, means it has its value and relevancy. So this way you can able to measure it, but that measurement, the difference cannot be calculated in the ordinal scale. In case of interval scale, the difference among them can be calculated. Here we can calculate the difference, but it doesn't have any reference position, reference value. For example, the temperature recorded in Delhi is 25 degrees centigrade, whereas the temperature is recorded at Madras, it is 50 degrees centigrade. I can measure the difference between the two cities. I can say that the Madras has 2 times more than the temperature of Delhi, or the Delhi has half of the temperature of the Madras. I can measure it, but one of the drawback of this interval scale, it doesn't have any reference value. Whereas next important scale is ratio scale. In the SPSS, we have combined together, that is the interval scale as well as ratio scale is combined together, put it in one scale, they have made it. In the ratio scale, it is similar to the interval scale, but it has a reference position. Here the 0 has taken as an absolute number for the reference. For example, if you want to measure the length, breadth, height, weight, anything, we can do it. So that can be done in case of ratio scale. Ratio is a very powerful scale. You can perform all the arithmetic operation, addition, deletion, multiplication, division, mean, mode, median, everything can be done in case of ratio scale, because totally deals with numbers. For example, 5 kg is there. So 5.3 height, feet and 3 inches height is there, means from the 0 reference, that difference will be calculated and will express that number. So this indicates the ratio scale. So in the SPSS, while you are defining the variable, so by default it will take it as a scale. So here, so it is a drop down menu is there in the SPSS box. Just you click on there. By default it will take scale. Suppose if your variable is of categorical nature, then you have to change into the nominal one. And if it is a rank based, means you have to change into the ordinal one. If it is a numerical nature, means you can change as a, by default scale is there. So this way you can able to change the scale system in the SPSS, so which refers to the interval or ratio level of measurement. in the spaces, as I told, it is combined together, interval as well as ratio level of measurement. So choose the nominal for categorical data. Very important point for defining the variable is if you have the nature of the variable is of categorical one, you have to choose nominal. If it is a rank based order of the data of your variable, then you have to choose the ordinal data. So in this way, you can able to deal with all the scale system in the SPSS. So in the SPSS, the data entry can be done in two ways. Directly, you can open the data editor window in the SPSS. You try to enter all the variables, all the data, you can enter it, and later you can create the variable, or first you create the variable, then you try to enter the data directly in the SPSS, or first you create the data in Excel, all the variable data you create column wise consisting of variable, row wise consisting of cases or records. Number of cases indicates the size of the sample of your research work. It may be any, it depends upon your convenience. You have to take the numbers, size of the sample according to the research methodology rule you should take. So while you are selecting the sample, it all, there is a thumb rule is you have to select minimum 10% of the total population. For example, population means there are 100 teachers are there, total 100 teachers are there. To study the psychological attitude of the teachers or perception of the teachers or the faculty members, at least 10 teachers you should select for your research work, study it, then you can generalize to the entire population of 100 faculty members, then you can done it. If you take less than 10 minutes, the generalization will not be good in the research methodology. Here is one of the table. It represents the different scales, what we are going to use it in the SPSS, that is nominal, ordinal, intro, ratio. Nominal, as I told, the basic characteristics of nominal data is numbers identifying and classifying the object, that's all. The common we use the nominal data is gender or occupation, or it may be anything, place, it may be anything. For this, whenever you want to deal with nominal data, most of the cases we have to apply the percentages and mode is the most suitable statistical analysis mode. For this, in the statistics, we have two types, as you know, descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics is the one which describe the characteristics of the given data, like it will calculate the percentage, mean, or mode, standard deviation, and range, minimum, maximum, kurtosis, skewness, everything it will be calculated. That will describe the characteristics of the given data set. For the inferential, so you can use it for testing your hypothesis. You have formulated the hypothesis. The hypothesis may be of anything. My hypothesis is what? So the sale of any product or anything, the job performance of the teachers depends upon what? Depends upon salary. Job satisfaction depends upon what? Is it depends upon salary? Is it depends upon the environment in the workplace? Does it depends upon the nature of the work? Does it depends upon on the cooperation of the colleagues? Does it depends upon any other parameters? To find the relation between the, for example, poverty and crime, does it, these two variables are there? Does these two variables have correlated? Or BP and sugar, does it have they correlated? So to find the correlation among these variable, we have to apply the various statistics. For nominal data, most of the cases, to see the association between the variable, we have to apply the chi-square test or binomial test. We can apply it only. They are less powerful. This chi-square test, binomial test, they are what kind of statistics? They are the non-parametric statistics. So if you want to apply this parametric test, they are most powerful. Because why they are powerful? You can able to find the significant difference among the subcategory at 1%. You can able to reject your null hypothesis at 1% level of significance in the parametric test, but it's not possible in case of nominal data, in case of non-parametric test. Let us come to the ordinal. The ordinal data, as I told, it has a numbers, but they have a relative positions of each numbers. We cannot find the significant difference among that numbers. Only for expressing the quality ranking of teams, tournament can be done with the help of ordinal data. For example, if you find out the correlation test, if you want to see the correlation between the two variable, you can go for ordinal data. Whatever the numbers we have given, you have to rank it and you have to find the significant difference. So for example, there are two judges are there. The two judges have given the marks for the performance of any art. The first judge and second judge. What is the percentage of correlation? First artist score almost same numbers or different numbers. Second artist score or same or different. Is it exactly reverse? So what kind of relation exists between the two variable? For example, income and expenditure. They are the two variable. Does it have a positive relation between them? If the income increases means your expenditure is also increases. Is it vice versa? If the income is decreases, does your expense is going to increases? It may be happened in some cases. Most of the cases, it may go in straight line. We have to find that relation, that is a correlation. It may be by using two methods, we can find the correlation between the two variables or more than two variable, that we can use the Kendall coefficient concordance for more than two variables. For the two set, you can able to use the Spearman rank correlation test. So what is the agreement exist between the two judges? That we can do it for the ordinal data. For the interval, you can find the significant difference exactly. So that is, as I told, they are very powerful because it can be measurable. So by using this interval scale, we can find the range, mean, everything, product moment correlation test can be applied. In case of ratio scale, it is very, very powerful compared to other scale or the type of data. So here we can able to apply almost all the parametric test, as well as even we can classify, declassify it, we can apply the non-parametric test also. So you can apply and perform all the arithmetic operation for the ratio scale data, mean, median, and coefficient variation. All advanced tests can be applied. So for the what it is used for, that SPSS. With SPSS, we can analyze the data in three basic way. So SPSS is a package, software package. By using this package, we can perform various arithmetic operations. We can calculate so many statistical operation can be done and draw the inferences out of your result. The first way is describe the data using descriptive statistics. Okay. First and fundamental base to use the SPSS is you can go with descriptive statistics. In the descriptive statistics, you can create the frequency tables, frequency and numbers, frequency and percentage. For example, if you create the gender-wise distribution of the respondent, male is 60%, female is 40%, and numbers it is associated. You can write the description below the table. In the given above table, majority of the respondents are male and only the remaining are 40% are female. Therefore, it can be concluded that the male is more dominating in the given sample. So that way you can analyze the data. So in the descriptive statistics, we can able to calculate the frequency you can generate, how many numbers of male are there, how many females are there, how many others are there, you can find out. You can also calculate the mean. Mean is arithmetic mean, average of the given value. So you can also calculate the standard deviation. Standard deviation is what? To check the consistency of your data set, you have to calculate the standard deviation. Smaller the standard deviation, it tending towards the more is the consistency of your given data. If the standard deviation is more, means the absorption of the data distribution is uniformly, it is not normally distributed, it is abnormally distributed. You can calculate the minimum, you can calculate the maximum, you can calculate the range, you can calculate the differences, you can calculate the kurtosis, skewness, everything can be done in the descriptive statistics. Second steps in the, by using SPSS, you can examine the relationship between the variable, given variable. So by using the correlation test, for example, if the two variables are moving in the same direction, for example, height and weight, are they moving in the same direction? Does it have any kind of positive correlation exist between the height and weight? If a person is having a more height, automatically is obviously his weight is also high. Almost they are the positive relation. Okay, they have the positive relation. Here in while calculating the relationship, whether it is a positive relation, whether it is a negative relation, whether it is a independent, that relation in the Spearman correlation coefficient, there is a range is given. For example, that value is in between 1 to +1 to -1. If it is near to 1 means perfect agreement exists between them. If it is a minus means there is a totally disagreement between the two judges. If it is 0 means it is not at all totally independent. That way you can take the relation, take the decision about the variable by applying this correlation. Either you can go for a product correlation moment, or you can go with the Spearman correlation test, or you can go for Kendall coefficient concordance test. You can examine the relations between the two. For example, if there are two sets means you can go with the Spearman. If it is more than two sets, you can go with the Kendall coefficient concordance. If it is only a numbers means you can go for product correlation co-moment. So this way you can apply it in the SPSS. So the third important step, very important step in the SPSS is, one is for going and generating the descriptive statistics, SPSS is used. Second important step is for finding the correlation coefficient between the variable, among the variable, this SPSS is used. Through this, we can able to find, for example, in the library, year of establishment versus collection of the document. Year of establishment versus collection of the document. As the year increases, automatically collection is more. Maybe vice versa. There are some colleges within a span of 5 years, they have collection is very good compared to the old one. But most of the cases in general, the year of establishment versus the collection development may be increasing in the ascending order, in the uniform, in the linear way, it increases. When we can compare the group or determine if there are any significant difference between the groups. For example, this is very, very powerful. Most of the cases we can apply the parametric test to find the significant difference between the two given groups or more than 3 groups. For example, I want to know academic performance between the male and female, who performing well in the given class, whether the male are dominating, whether the female are dominating. So in this, to find does it a significant difference exist between the male and female, or rural versus urban, or over the UG versus PG, or between any other? Okay, so to find out the between one college to another college, significant difference exists means you have to use the parametric test for this. In this, for the T test is popularly used for the two groups to find the significant difference between for job satisfaction between the male and female among the librarians, or between the students and teachers. Anything you can find, the common parameters are there, so that can be presented. And also, if it is more than two groups, we have to go for ANOVA test. For example, I want to compare the academic performance among three category of colleges. What are those category of colleges? Number one is aided college, whether they are doing well, government colleges and unaided colleges. If you want to compare the academic performance among three colleges, three category of colleges, means I have to go for ANOVA test, I have to go for F test. So the based on the mean value, based on the standard deviation, and based on the F value, you can take the decision whether the what is my hypothesis in the beginning. There is no significant difference exist among the academic performance of the three colleges under study. So all are uniform, all are doing well. In the null hypothesis, I have formulated it. While in the alternative hypothesis, you should have a knowledge about the hypothesis that should learn through your research methodology. So if you want to check the difference among three category of colleges, means alternative hypothesis is any one of the colleges more than the other two. Maybe the aided college is performing very well compared to the government as well as unaided. If the significant difference find, means your null hypothesis is rejected straight away, alternate hypothesis is existed, there is a significant difference. The academic achievement of the aided college is better than the other two. Why it is better? Then you have to write, you give the explanation to those. That's what it is a research. Research is what find. So you have to find the reasons. Okay. So you have to find the relations, what kind of relation exists, how it is existed, what for it is existed, how we have to overcome it. So here it is a minimum in case of unaided college and government mills. Why it is low? So you give the solution. So what the research indicates, research is nothing but finding the solution to the problem or finding the answer to the question. So here you find the, already you know the problem and you have to find the solution for that problem. So this way you can apply it. So next, let us we go with how to get start with the SPSS software. It is very simple. Anyone can able to operate this software. Nothing is there in this software, provided you should have a knowledge of SPSS. You should have a knowledge of statistics majorly, and you should also knowledge about the research methodology. The knowledge about SPSS, it is even layman can able to operate it. Any statistical test within 4 to 5 steps, you can complete the procedure. That's all. But provided you should have a knowledge of all three before to do this one. Once you install that software into your system, means automatically will get the icon on the desktop, or here you can type on the window button, Windows box SPSS, automatically it will show you. Just click on SPSS file, so it will initialization, automatically it will get open. So this process will go like this. So either you have to type in the window box, automatically you can click on IBN SPSS statistics. Automatically it will get open, nothing is there. So some initial procedure it will follow in the beginning. So later it will show this window, IBM SPSS statistics. This is a version 20. Later, it will initialization and check the parameters. Later, will come across this window. Once you open the SPSS window, so I will show you live only how the SPSS works. Recording, madam. 1 second, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. No. Actually, the SPSS, just you click on the icon of IBM SPSS. Now it is a 26th version of SPSS package. This will similar to that of MS Excel, basically consisting of rows and columns. The column wise representing the number of rows, column representing the number of variables. Each column indicate each variable, and the rows are representing the number of cases or number of records. So I will show you how we can go into create the variable and also data, how we can how you can create the frequency table, how you can generate the descriptive statistics by using SPSS. Here, look at here, there are two views are there. One is data view, other one is variable view. I will click on variable view. In the variable view, already I have explained it consisting of name, type, width, decimal, label, value, missing columns, align, measure, role. We don't bother about all. There are only 3 to 4 characteristics which should be taken into account while you assigning or creating the variable. So first variable name, you have to give the name of the variable. Suppose in your questionnaire you have asked gender is one of the variable. Okay, just you type gender. So this gender is a variable. Next you type tab. It won't take any special characters. Gender is a one of the variable I have created, and just I press the tab. Here it will ask whether that gender is what kind of data it is. It will ask you. You click on this radio button. It will ask you numeric, comma, dot, scientific notation, date, dollar, custom currency, string. So most of the cases for us it only applicable. It depend upon if a date. You are going to analyzing with the date wise, you can select the date if it is a date variable. Now, most of the cases either will go with numeric or you will go with the string if it is alphabetic characters. So by default, it will take a numeric, you just leave it, and it will also ask you width of the characters. So width is maximum by default, it will take 8 is maximum. For decimal places 0.00, it will take 2 by default. For the gender, it doesn't require any decimal, just we are indicating 1 and 2 for representation of male and female. For this, you leave this decimal point, keep it is empty or 0. Okay. So click here, go to width. Already it will take default. Decimal number doesn't required. Label here, you have to give the name of the label. Whatever the label you are given here, that will become the title of your title of the table. That is became the title of the table. If I given gender wise distribution of the respondent in your table means, so here you have to type gender wise. So here it is very important, very important for Gender, we have two types, subclasses or subgroups. Here, for categorizing the gender, coding the gender, I have given one for male. So you have to type one for male, just to add enter. Again, give it two, type female, just enter it. Already I have coded the data. Gender is one for male, two for female. Just you click on OK button, go to next. It is a missing. Oh, don't worry about missing. Just column width, align. Don't worry anything. Here it is very important. Only scale. Click on the scale. Here we come across, as I explained earlier, four type of scales, measurement of scales. One is nominal, ordinal, ratio, and interval. Here, ratio and interval, they combined in one on scale only. So for gender is what category of data? It is a categorical variable, gender. It is categorized into male and female. That's what for categorical data, you should select nominal measurement scale. Now you have to change, by default it is scale. You have to change into the nominal, then you have to enter. So next you enter place. Okay. So you can create one more variable. Place. Just I will show you. Place of the respondent. Just you tab it. Already you know. Place is doesn't require any decimal point, because place will be divided into urban and rural or semi-urban also. Make it 3 also, for it doesn't require any decimal number. You make it 0. So here is what? Place wise distribution. Next, again we have to assign the value for, again in the values. So for one is for what? One is for rural place. If you want to compare rural and urban students with respect to academic performance, with respect to co-curricular activity score, or with respect to any other parameters, the group is required. Okay. So for one, I have given for rural, and 2 is given for urban. So just you have it. So again, it is a nominal. So it is, make it is a nominal. By default, it is scale. Don't worry about. Next, I will give. So far, I have created 2 variable. Third variable, I will create income. Age. Okay. Age I will take. Age of the respondent. Okay. So age can be expressed either 2 way. In the questionnaire, you may ask the data as it is age. Don't categorize it. Less than 20 years, 20 to 30 years, 30 to 40 years, 40 to 50 years, more than 60 years. Don't ask this. Wherever it is possible, you have to try to collect the numerical data wherever it is possible, because if it is a numerical data, means we can convert it into categorical data. It is easy, but vice versa, it is very difficult. If it is a numerical data or numerical variable, we can go with the parametric test. Very powerful tests are there. Through that, you can able to test your hypothesis at 1%. You can reject your null hypothesis. Very significant result. We can trace it in from for your research work. That's what age is another variable. Okay. So because while you are assigning this name of the variable, care should be taken. It won't take any special character, any space or anything. So you give it 16-bit characters. Just age I have created, and it is a number numeric, because age can be expressed in terms of numbers. I will take in terms of quantitative data, age of the respondent. Age of the respondent, it should be displayed on the table. Now here I will not going to categorize it, because that data is most important. I want to find out the mean age of the gender, mean age of the male and mean age of the female. Is there any significant difference, or with respect to rural and urban mean age? Okay, that is very important for me. So don't categorize it, leave it. It is scale only, because I will going to create numerical data for this. Now I have created three variables. One is gender, place, age. Now I will go to data view. So you look at here, the data view on column wise, three columns are created: gender, place, age. Okay. So for the sake of exercise, I will take 20 data, 20 number of cases is 20 I will take. So it is already assigned. Okay. While I will explaining, there is a wrong data, there is a missing data come across while entering the data. Here I have given only two value, 1 and 2. If you give 3, 4, 5, it is totally null and void. It won't take into account. It is a wrong value. Sometimes I am not going to enter the data. So that will be considered as a missing data. So here I will give 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Just enter the data. So 50 cases I have entered in this case. Place I will enter similar also. Here there are some data is missing here. I think you observed here. Now you have to replace it appropriately. Here it is a wrong value 21. We have not defined 21. We have defined only 1 and 2. That you have to enter here. You have to correct the data. So this is the two data, yes, two variables have entered. So here come to the age. Now age is as I told, it is not categorical. As it is age, I will going to enter. I will go into 15 years because it is given in terms of decimal points, 20.3. Now total number of, what is the size of the sample here? The size of the sample is 50. So total 50 respondent I have taken on terms of three variables. So number one is what? Number one is gender. Number two is place. Number three is age. Okay. Now, once you have created the variable, you have also entered the data in the editor view. Later, what we have to do is we have to go for creating the reports. So reports in the sense case summaries I have to create to check out the whether the properly entered or not, the whether each variable is properly defined and whether it is properly entered or not. So just click on the to and run it. So it will give all total number of cases, total size of the sample is how much. The table is created here. Just I want to see whether the validity of the data. Is there any wrong value? Is there any missing value? If it is a missing value, it will show in case of instead of n, it will, if the two value missing means it will show, it will come into the excluded part. Now 50, n is 50. So gender is 50, place is 50, percent is 100. excluded case null because no value is wrong and there is no any missing value. So totally data entry is perfect. Okay. So here it will created all. So you can see there is a 134. There is a missing value because of Tolu is entered. Tolu is not at all defined there. Therefore, you go back to, again. In the 34 column, Tolu is there. Just you see change it to. Okay. This way you can rectify your data by running the case summaries in SPSS. Okay. So later, once you create the case summaries, later we'll go for class. Sorry. Now we'll go with creating the frequency table for the two. I don't know how many males are I have entered out of 50, how many females are out of 50. Now by creating the frequency table, I come to know the status of the gender. Okay, so I will create. Go to analyze, whatever the statistical test you're supposed to apply, you have to click on analyze only. From the analyze, you go into select the various options are available. If you want to go with the descriptive statistics, you click on descriptive statistics. So many are there. For example, I will go to, so reports generation, you have to click on report. For the descriptive statistics, you have to click on descriptive statistics. Here you have to select frequency. Okay. So here for first and two, gender and place, I can calculate the frequency because they are the categorical data. For the age, I cannot calculate the frequency because it is a numerical data. Just you click, you select the two variable, transfer to the right side box in the variable box, then you click OK button. Now you look at here. Here gender wise distribution of respondent. Here the title of the table, you look at the title of the table. While you are giving that label, whatever the title you use, that title exactly will appear on the title of the table. So here the gender wise distribution of the respondent, here a male, female, total. As per the data what we entered in this 26, 24, total 50. So the male are little bit higher than the female. So it is calculated the percentage also 52% for the male and 48% the female. No significant difference. It calculated the frequency, number of cases, numbers. It also calculated the percentage. It also calculated the valid percentage. For example, if there is any missing value means for the total, it will take 50. For missing value, if you not enter two values means it calculates the percentage for 48, not for the 50. It is a valid percentage if you made any mistake while entering the data. So for rural also, you look at that rural. Here place-wise distribution of the respondent, rural and urban and total. It has calculated 29 for the rural and 21 for urban, and total is 50. 58% of the respondent belonging to the rural and 42% of the respondent belonging to the urban. Therefore, by looking at this table, we can come to the conclusion that the urbans are rural or dominating in the given data set. Okay, so this way you can calculate the frequency table by using SPSS. Within 1 second, you can run, you select 100 variable, you can run at one time. Automatically in 1 second, it will calculate all the 100 tables percentage. That is the power of SPSS. So this is one way. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Come to next. That is descriptive statistics. Because I have calculated the frequency only for the gender and places because they are the categorical variable. For age, I have not calculated, but I have taken it as a numerical variable. Now I will go for descriptive statistics. Select select analyze, go to descriptive statistics, select one second, sorry, descriptive below the frequency, select the age here, and here the options are there. You transfer that age into the variable column, right side box, and click on option button. In the option button, it will ask various descriptive options. Whether you want to calculate the mean, you select the mean. If you want to calculate the standard deviation, you have to select it. Whatever the variable you want, whatever the option you want, you select it. For example, standard deviation is very much required, mean is very much required, minimum value, maximum, that is minimum is out of 50, maximum is out of 50. Range means maximum minus minimum, give the range. If you want interested, you can select that also. Standard error in the mean, if you want for the further analysis, you can also select it. If you want kurtosis, scattering of data, you can also these two select it, continue, and OK button select. So here the age is calculated out of 50. The n is what indicate the size of the sample. How many respondent I have taken for the exercise work? I have taken 50. The size is so the sample size is 50. What is the range? Means range is minimum minus maximum. That gives the range. Minimum is 12, maximum is 74. Age of the maximum respondent is in the given data set, the maximum age is 74, the minimum is 12. The difference of these two will give the range. Okay. And if you come to your mean statistics, so that is mean age of the respondent. So that is 32 years. How it is calculated mean age? So whatever the age I have entered, all 50 respondent age has to be summed. Like it, add it one after the another. So by total of all the sum of all the age of the respondent divided by the number of respondent, that gives the mean age of the respondent. That is here it is mean age is 32 years. Okay. Standard deviation 2.4 and standard statistics 60. They are supporting only. Given is 0.9, not that much. That these all are indicating for this deviation of the data from the mean. So here there is a little bit of deviation in the data. So we have to check out the characteristics of the data. So here you can calculate. Now I will go and calculate the comparison statistics. Okay. So look at here. Click on analyze. Go to descriptive statistics. Select the explore. In the explore option, here there are two types. Which one is dependent list here? The dependent variable is age. You have to transfer to the dependent variable. Another two, gender and the place, fixed factor list. You selected to that side, and you select on statistics. So the statistics, descriptive statistics, automatically it will take minimum statistics it will calculate. If you want percentile, quartile, that doesn't require for comparison, don't select it. The confidence level by default, it will take 95%. Usually it will be set at 95%. That you can set either one 99%, 95%, 90%. That means the level of significance is either 1%, 5%, 10%. That way you have to select this one. Okay. Click on this. Okay, click OK. So here it has given a lot of tables here. It has calculated the mean age. So that is, it has calculated rural and urban, and also for the rural mean age is 35. It is calculated with the standard deviation is 3.3. urban it is 27 and the deviation is 3.2. For the male it is 31 age, mean age with the standard deviation, standard error of 3.1. For female it is 32 and with the deviation of 3.6. So this way it has calculated to make the comparison. Okay. Or I will see the table. Don't want to record all this. So it shows the age of the respondent, male, mean age and standard error, female, mean age, standard error. So this way we can calculate mean age of the rural, mean age of the urban, and the mean age of the male, mean age of the respondent. So apart from this, what we can do is so you select the age of the respondent on one side, gender, and go to analyze, select descriptive statistics, go to mean score, select means, and select the gender and you move to the level 1 of 1 option. What you want? I want only mean, number of cases, standard deviation. If you want more, you can select here maximum, minimum, first, last, variation, all the characteristics of descriptive statistics available here. You can select that one and you can select OK button. Now look at here, the male and female. This is the table we required for the analysis purpose. For male, mean is 31.70. Total male is 26. Standard deviation is 60. There is a lot of deviation in the age. So, and female, it is 32. And total mean is 32, out of which female have a little bit of higher mean than the male. So here also, look at the urban, 35 mean age. Rural is 35 mean age. Urban is 27 mean age with a deviation of 14 and 18. The data is so much scattered. Okay. If you want to check the uniformity of the data, you can run it in the frequency. So this way you can compare it. Okay. Just I want to show the normality of the data by using the histogram. You can see whether the data is distributed normally or not. Okay. So go to descriptive statistic, click on frequency, click on the so here it is, frequency statistics. One second. So you click on the chart. In the chart button, you just click on the histogram. So in the histogram, if you want to see the normal curve on the histogram, whether it is distributed bell-shaped or not, so you click on the show normal histogram, continue, okay. Okay, so little bit it is a scattered data. Okay, it's almost bell-shaped curve we come across. It shows the nature of the data, whether it is uniformly distributed or not. If you look at this one, male and female almost uniformly distributed. There is no any significant difference in this. So here it little bit of scattered in case of the place. Place compared to this, it is more uniform than this because flat curve is not uniformly not bell-shaped. It is flatted. This is what you can check the normality of the data. As much as possible, the data should be uniformly distributed. So for if you want to apply for any kind of parametric test, that one of the conditions should be, it should be normally distributed. Normally distributed. Okay. So this way you can check the authenticity of the data, validity of the data, reliability of the data by using the histogram by the bell-shaped curve. If you want to make the adjustment of the data, you can do it in your data view editor. Out of this, anyway, what I will do is, however, two tables are there, two variables are there, gender versus place, whether the gender and place, how they are correlated. Is there any kind of association exist between the male and female? If you want to see this one, what I will do is, I have to apply for chi-square test. Okay. Chi-square test, you go to the analyze option, click on the descriptive statistics, go to cross table. Okay, here the two variable will be crossed. I will see the relation between the two variable. Just I want to see the only a single variable. Monotonous variable I have seen and its frequency. Now I will combine two variable, cross two variable. I will see the relation among the two variables, whether the male has uniformly distributed over the urban and rural, or the female is uniformly distributed over the urban and rural. That kind of relation I want to see in the cross table. Okay, click on the cross table. So you select the place on the row side. Gender you select on the column side. Anyone vice versa also. Okay, no problem. And you select the statistics here. So here statistics, you select the statistics. It will many statistics formulas are there. If you select the chi-square means, it will calculate the chi-square test. Chi-square value it will return. We have, apart from the chi-square test, we have so many other tests are there. Pi Kramers are there, lambda is there, and contingency coefficient is there. It depends upon the strength of the variable. So what the chi-square test tells, chi-square tells only whether the relation exists or not. It will not tell what extent the relation exists. What is the strength of that relation? It won't tell. By going further for the Pi or Kramer test, I will see the strength of the relation, whether the strength is strong or weak. Okay, this if you want to see, you can see this Pi. You can also select that one. So click continue, click OK button. And other very important thing while you selecting the cross table is you select the cell also. In the cell, you select the observed. By default, it will take the observed frequency, but here you want internet connection problem. Percentage, whether you want column percentage or row percentage or total percentage. So here, most of the cases, depending upon the nature of the variable, how you are going to analyze. With respect to gender, you are going to analyze the data, or whether you are going to analyze the data with respect to place. Based on that, you have to select this one. Okay. So continue and OK button is selected. So this is most important here. Right, 1 second. I'll say so. Okay. So this ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ವಿಸಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಕೇಳಿದೆ sorry. So in this case the cross table is generated here, rural urban versus male and female. Here 16 respondents of male belong to rural and 13 rural. Don't see the numbers, you look at the percentage. 61% of the male belongs to rural, 54% of the female belongs to rural. So in this case, the male respondents are majorly, almost they are at the rural places. And look at this urban here. In this case, 45% of the female are in urban side, and 38% are in the male are in the urban side also. We don't observe much of the difference between the distribution. Almost it is uniformly distributed. How it is distributed can be checked with the help of chi-square test. Look at the chi-square value 2.78. Okay. And a degree of freedom, D of means degree of freedom. Look at this value, asymptotic significance. This is called as probability value. The probability value should be less than 0.05 because that is the percentage. At 5% level, we have fixed the level of significance. If it is less than 0.05, then we can say that there is a relation exists between them. Okay. Here, because look at that value here, this while you are taking the decision with respect to chi-square test, if this 0.598, if it is less than 0.05 means you reject the null hypothesis, accept the alternative hypothesis. In this case, it is null hypothesis is accepted. What is your null hypothesis? The null hypothesis is formulated. The gender, male and female, are uniformly distributed over the rural and urban. There is no any significant difference with respect to, or there is no any relation, or there is no any association between the gender versus place of the respondent. They are uniformly distributed. Much significant difference is not found. Therefore, null hypothesis is accepted. No question of alternative hypothesis. Male and female are uniformly distributed almost over the rural and urban. This is what we can analyze from the given data. This way you have to analyze your PhD data. Okay. So this is how, before going to finalize, I will go for one more test, that is t-test. This is a chi-square test is a non-parametric test. If you want to see the association between the two categorical data or the ordinal variable, you can apply this one and see the association or the strength of the relation. So if you want to find the significant difference between the age of the respondent, I can trace this one with the help of t-test. Okay, in the statistics, we have a 3 category of t-test. Independent one sample t-test, independent sample t-test, and paired sample t-test. So one sample t-test is used to compare with the standardized value. Independent sample t-test is used to compare between the two subgroups. Paired test is basically used for before and after the experimental test. For example, I have taken I have conducted the experimental research in any given field. For example, information literacy skills measured before the treatment I have given to the student. Treatment means anything. I have taken the test.
Sir, it's not moving. Hello. Hello.
Statistics. Then you go to that is independent sample. Compare means go to the independent sample t-test. Click on this. You take age as a test variable, and gender. You click on the grouping variable because it is grouped between male and female. For gender group 1, you have to give 1, and 2 you have to go to. Click OK and OK button. Now it will show the mean age difference between the male and female. N is 26 and 24, total 50. The mean age of the male is 31 and mean age of the female is 32 with the deviation of 16 and 18. It is raw data. So look at the t value here. It has calculated the t value. It is minus 0.69 and minus 6.8. That means look at that DF is a degree of freedom 48 and pre-value significant value is 0.886. If that value, that is called as a probability value, if that value is less than 0.05, then t value will be more. The t value should be more than 1.96. If it is more than 1.96, automatically the given null hypothesis is rejected and alternative hypothesis is accepted. But in this case, the mean age is almost uniformly distributed same. There is no much significant difference between the male and female with respect to mean age 31, 32. Therefore, we can come to that. So there is no significant difference between the male and female with respect to age is concerned. Okay, that is one hypothesis I can make. And again, for the rural place also, I can run same way for the compare means independent t-test. So you remove that the gender, place it, place, define again 1 and 2, continue, okay. So again, for this is 26, this is in this second time it is there here, 29 and 31. For the mean is rural is 35 and urban is 27. Look at here, the t value is 1.470 and significant value is 0.48. Okay, compared to earlier, it is little bit okay. If the t value is more than 1.96, we can reject the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is there is no significant difference between the mean age of the rural and urban student or the respondent. Here we can accept the null hypothesis. Statistically, it is okay. So this way you can make the comparison between the male and female or urban and rural with respect to whenever you want to compare with the two sample t-test.
Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, now it's time for the question and answer session. Participants, if you're having any question, please post it. We are running out of the time. We'll take your questions quickly. So I think I have not received any question from the participants in the chat box.
Okay, sir.
One participant has requested that if this software is freely available on any platform in the internet.
No, it is not. It is not open source, sir. It is a commercial software. For earlier version, it is available free. For trial version, 1 month available at internet, sir. After 1 month, it will get expired. Again, you have to download. After 1 month, you can work with SPSS.
Okay, so that's fine. And another thing is, participants wants to have your contact details. Could you please share it in the chat box, or shall I share it on the WhatsApp?
I will tell you, sir. My name is Dr. Gausidappa Anandalle, Associate Professor in the Department of Library and Information Science. My mobile number is 944882566. But my Gmail ID is gavi.vijju@gmail.com.
Fine.
Sir. Otherwise, I will send a mail to you, sir.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. I do it. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to deliver this talk in our program. On behalf of PSCE and participants group, I would like to thank you once again for sharing your knowledge.
Okay, sir.
You have edified us about this data analysis software SPSS. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Dear participants, with this, I would like to request you to please join for the test at 2:30. This test is half an hour and it automatically ends at 3 o'clock. So I request you to please finish it off between the specified time.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. If you have any question, please ask me on the WhatsApp. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll meet you for the feedback session at 2:30. Thank you. Bye.